have to help us, and Sulu and everybody else here. We're looking for SNX, Synthetix. We came up here into space. We were floating around in space. We had Synthetix here with us, Synthetix token, the cryptocurrency, and it was great. And we were all on the way over to the moon, and we lost it, guys. We lost it. Can you help me find it and point it back in the direction of the moon, please? Okay, let's see what we can do. Silly stuff that, but it's enjoyable. Live long and prosper, everybody, by the way. And what we have on the go here is a wedge. We have had overall bullish movement in the Synthetix token price over the last, you know, really looking back to November time here, we've gone up without really looking back too much. And that story actually keeps on going on. If I drag up that Fibonacci retracement tool that I had used in the past here, you can see that it actually lines up perfectly with the baseline of the Ichimoku cloud for us. And not only would it line up with the baseline of the Ichimoku cloud for us, it lines up with a 26 period Donchian channel, of course, and it'll be within breathing distance of this median line of the Bollinger Band as well. So the trend still really does actually continue for us in a number of ways on this larger time frame here, so long as the prices stay above the 236. This is a 3-day time frame, but as we approach the lower term time frames, you'll notice that there's a couple of areas where maybe you might want to have drawn in your let me just remove that real quick, sorry. You might want to have drawn in your Fibonacci a little bit differently, just a little bit tighter, a little bit closer in, perhaps, you know. Let me just double check here and see. No, that actually still looks like a decent enough place, and things are pretty good so long as they stay above that that price point where the 236 is, from the November lows up to the recent highs at 1639. The last area again up the way, you know, you could keep doing this all day, but really, you know, if we look at the last real zone before we moved, it would probably have to be when we came down to touch the lower end, or near enough touch the lower end of that Bollinger Band up towards the highs, and then say, well, okay, we finally found the area where you would be touching the 236 much closer to the price action than the other one is here, and it lines up just above our heads at 2260 or so, and the median line of the Bollinger Band right in there on this 1 hour time frame, the top end of it, the lower end of it, all showing us that really, if we were to be operating within a range, it's going to be this wedge for the time being, the lows of which are around about that 2150 area, the highs that are in around about 22.8 to 23. But if we can push outside of it, what we have as well is the opportunity coming up soon to attack the Ichimoku cloud and push on through it. There is a good enough opportunity soon, and this wedge, which has the potential for us to have a more positive play out on it. I appreciate there's so much noise in the chart there. It looks funny, but I can tell what's going on. Hope you can too at home. If we did actually get the full move off of this, it would take us up towards 26. Fantastic potential for trades in and around about this zone. Of course, this is towards the downside, so let's resolve that issue slightly by pointing out the long stretch here on the 1 hour time frame of bullish divergence towards the downs, you know, bullish divergence indicating the potential for this wedge to be accurate in the whole structure of that wedge and beyond into the past. Looking up here at the RSI, then we have a big triangle here showing us that there is the consolidation factor on the go, and this is going to break soon. We've seen this across multiple altcoins recently. If you've been watching the cryptocurrency technical analysis with myself here on the channel, and with regards to the Synthetix price, then it's no really different to everybody else. Alert, whoops, okie dokie, must have set that up by accident just there now. Now the Synthetix price here for us is also worth pointing out, perhaps on just putting the Ichimoku cloud just on its own for us, where the prices are right now, and they are below the Ichimoku cloud, and that's the 1 hour time frame. On the 2 hour time frame, they are below it. The 3 hour time frame below it. The 4 hour time frame, the 12 hour time frame is actually where you first see it turning around and looking at this area and saying, well, will we find this operate as support for us? Should we need it in it around about that 21 zone, as we've been looking at on these lower time frames? So the 4 hour, will we see this crossover? Well, we've not got the positive cross between the base and the conversion line. That's actually inside the cloud right now when that actually happened last. In fact, the last two crosses were really debatable in terms of their negative strength, that's to be sure, because of our position within the cloud. And of course, while we have gone down below it, this isn't a particularly brilliant sell signal to have had then at that time. It's a little bit false. Now what we're looking for is the potential for this to cross over here as the prices push on through, and it's all lined up perfectly for it, as you would expect, as we've seen this shallowing off of the downward movement as part of that wedge structure overall here. This is just drawn in with those wicks in the with that latest line. So that's what we're looking at here, and I think there's a pretty positive case to be made then for this to break this structure towards the top side and catch up with its pals, the likes of DOT and Chainlink, which have done very, very, very good recently. Last thing to point out here is that we are quite a bit above the last inflection point in the market. If we come down to the 382 Fibonacci retracement point, then we will of course be taking out various structural support areas there, and it might be worth to look out for these lower targets, the 50%, which comes in at 17, the 618, which comes in there at $16, and that's what would lead to that downside target on the 24 hour, the 3-day time frame that we kind of started off this little part of the show at. But we won't worry about those things until such times we've taken out the $20 region, with 21 acting as our current support, with a positive pattern on the chart for us to take advantage of if the bullish divergence plays out in our favor, which it may well do at the same sort of time as we see us cracking through the Ichimoku cloud there, breaking the structure with any moves towards the top side and coming in for targets, of which there are plenty. And let's not beat about the bush overall here. Between the when we're looking at the next targets towards the top side, we can easily come in with, oh, I say easily, but it's just not going to let me. Oh, I almost had it, folks, but I just didn't quite get there in the end. There's that one. We can easily look towards $30, $38, and actually, as crazy as it may seem right now, but the next targets to look to beyond those price points actually come up here towards $58 thereafter. So there's plenty of upside potential for us if we can manage to make up as high as 30. That would be your first one, and it'd already be 40 to 50% rise in price depending on what price point you got in at from what we've discussed there. Now, like and subscribe. If you do, it really helps the channel, and if you want to actually really properly help the channel, then come on over here and join the Patreon. I've got 6. The target for the month is 10. It would be great to get there, and the target then, of course, in terms of what we've talked about recently for what we need to see the channel going on to 2022 is to average at around about 10 patrons a month on there. Now what you're going to get as part of that Patreon thing whenever we close this off to the public is extreme details, wonderful, fantastic signals and entries, is, you know, that's fantastic. The discussion of them, fantastic entries and signals posted in here by people and part of the community, and you'll be able to do that too. In fact, it's not just me posting them, it'll be everybody that's in there already, of course, other paid members, etc. So people who mean what they're doing, you know, that are in this for real. And then there'll also be educational materials to go along with all of that as well. Okie dokie. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next one if that's what great, fantastic.